The reveal trailer for Battlefield 2042 has been released, and I'm a big fan with some big hopes but also some concerns at this early stage, which is normal. I'll be showing the trailer on repeat in this video while selecting a few things to highlight while I discuss them. No trailer audio because I don't want the video to get claimed for any copyrights, obviously. So if you haven't seen the trailer yet and you want to, pause and go and watch it first, go for it, that's fine. And if you haven't subbed to this channel and you want to be part of the massive amount of videos and streams I'll be putting out, then hit the sub button and let's get straight into this. We're focusing mainly on the trailer itself. Other external details will be dealt with later down the line, although a few are covered today. Firstly, this is a decidedly Battlefield trailer. Although some aren't satisfied, the reception has been vastly majority positive. This is a BF trailer in the vein of BF4, a little bit like BF1, etc., and nothing at all like Battlefield 5, which starts DICE off on a strong footing as they can seemingly push forward with their vision for the game now, remaining cohesive without interruptions, alterations, and huge backlash. And that vision seems extremely clear in this trailer. An open sandbox full of fun, possibilities, and those ever important only in Battlefield moments. For examples of that, look no further than the diving from a great height at the start of the trailer, much like some of you will have experienced in Battlefield 3, or the section where the jet pilot bails to destroy his adversary in a blaze of glory and then re-enters the jet. All of this is carefully constructed and calculated, and only in Battlefield moment-filled sandbox is back, and I think all the better for it. No, we're not going for realism for those complaining about that. You know, go for it, but that's not this game. It's time to strip away the limitations and wow the player base with experiences. I truly hope the game itself carries this forward in the gameplay with consistency. I also want to point out that while some criticize the trailer for being too futuristic, I personally, just my opinion, don't get that vibe. The game is set in 2042, a mere 20 odd years from now, and I think what we're seeing in the trailer is pretty reasonable for that sort of short time jump. We have a lot of the things that are on show in the trailer right now. It just looks a little more advanced and updated. The two main things that stood out to some people, I guess, were like the robo-dog and the wingsuit. And sure, I get that, they're a little bit out there, but wingsuits do exist, look them up. And Boston Dynamics, for example, are working on robot dogs, or these robot things with 4 legs, whatever you want to call them. So really, this isn't that much of a stretch, in my opinion. I'm also a huge fan of the very clear indication of the return of grabbing enemy dog tags. It's a great extra feature and a reason to go for such kills. It adds extra satisfaction and something else to collect that you can attach sentimental value to, as they came from another player out there in the world. But I'm more so a fan of penguins, or whatever they are, I think they're penguins. Either way, yay for penguins. Penguins rule. Now let's tack on something I'm happy about that wasn't in the trailer but is confirmed: an open beta. An opportunity to try the game before release, plus perhaps find a few issues that can be corrected. This is great for those unsure about buying the game. Also, extra bonus for those who pre-order, who get early access to the beta. It's just a solid decision all round in my opinion. I never really understand not having a beta of some kind for these games. So that's the overall good, very briefly, in my opinion. Personally, I have this trailer sat at about an 8 out of 10, mainly because of what it shows DICE intend to produce with this game. A focus upon action and fun, and no need to now deviate because the player base didn't like what they saw. They can just go full steam ahead with it. But let's move through some aspects that are either mixed or a bit concerning for me, although only in theory, as it all really depends upon balancing and implementation. First off, the tornado. We can't not talk about the tornado, twister, whatever. BF 2042 has dynamic maps, basically. That's what we've learned. Storms and events that affect the flow of combat. This sounds exciting. I hope it's great, but a lot comes down to how they decide to do this, how the maps are designed, and how frequently it all occurs. Deathfire environment is already a frustration for many in the Battlefield community. Although they're nothing like this, they're much more subtle and surprise elements, so it may be nothing like this in terms of annoyance. This might be perfectly fine, but sandstorms and such in BF1 could go on for too long and become irritating. So I really hope these events are handled well. If they are, it could curb stagnant gameplay, an abundance of camping and things like that, and create a flow to the combat that simply wouldn't exist otherwise, altering the state rate of play and providing variety within the same round. I hope for that rather than an overbearing event system that's high in cinematic value but low on gameplay improvement. Let me also throw in here the huge wall collapsing moment, as it also applies to potential environmental death. We simply don't know how this is utilized, so I'm not here to bash it or anything. We don't know whether it's a single map event, how it's balanced, whether the reward equals the effort required, whether it's from a specific mode, etc. It could be absolutely great, and I hope it is. But it's a mild concern right now for essentially the same reasons as the Twister. It could all be absolutely fantastic. Now, the wingsuit. Looks really cool, right? That's undeniable. But I also hope that it's handled well and doesn't destroy map flow. Many were pleased to not see an abundance of advanced movement, like wall running and super jumps. I have heard some people talking about a possible ability to climb walls without a gun or something, but I haven't looked into it. Anyway, the point is, most didn't want crazy movement abilities messing up the flow of combat and positioning. So how effective the wingsuit is important, but no freaking out. It's just something to keep in mind. And indeed in BF4 you could do long distance glides from buildings, I believe, if I remember rightly. So it may not be too dissimilar to that. And of course you can't just like jump from the floor and use a wingsuit. You need height already. So hopefully that's fine and just like an improved parachute. Moving on, vehicles were highly prevalent in the trailer as you'd expect. This is Battlefield. So this concern isn't a specific one for this game. It's actually just my standard one from any Battlefield game. I hope the balance between vehicles and infantry is good with solid counterplay. Vehicles should of course have advantages, that makes sense, but not be gameplay destroying without some way to effectively combat them. This all comes down to map design, gadget options, and overall mechanical implementation. Now there were some things that are external to the trailer that I don't want to leave out today. So firstly, crossplay is confirmed, which is fantastic news, but only if the player is given control over it. So if someone from PC and someone from console are playing together, or rather a controller player and a mouse and keyboard player are playing together, then that should be a mixed server. But if it's straight up console or PC or controller or mouse and keyboard, let that player decide if they want crossplay on or not, or indeed how to limit it. This avoids many issues with balancing one way or the other and limits the damage that hacking can do. Please let there be good anti-cheat, by the way. Now people are gonna ask me about specializations replacing classes. Basically different specializations now exist with their own abilities, but you can then pick anything else you want, including your guns. They aren't locked to classes anymore, so you've got a lot more freedom in that regard. I'm simply gonna say that I won't know until I've played it. Balancing is something you can only really experience. Theorizing generally holds little value without some kind of experience to back it up. So it could be good, bad, or neither. I'm hoping for good. Just like having 128 player lobbies on current gen consoles and PC, or PCs capable of running the game. PCs, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5 will have 128 player lobbies available. Xbox One and PS4 will not, due to the hardware limitations. Now, where 128 player lobbies are concerned, if the map design, movement, and visibility is fit for purpose, then this could be awesome. But it could also be a terrible random mess of confusion and a lack of player agency upon the result if it's bad. It all comes down to that. It's a hard thing to do. Battlefield can already feel very chaotic and random, so it remains to be seen. But yes, it's a concern for me currently because I'm thinking beyond like the hype of all more players. We'll just have to wait and see. But with that said, those are my initial thoughts. There are other aspects out there, of course, but I wanted to focus on the trailer mainly today. We'll know a lot more after the gameplay reveal, which is on Sunday the 13th of June, so 4 days after this reveal trailer that we've now seen, and I'll stream that reveal as well right here if I'm allowed, the gameplay reveal that is. So drop a sub and turn on notifications if you don't want to miss that, and we'll know even more about the game, of course, by the time the beta comes around. So let me know what you think of the trailer or anything I discussed today, and thanks for watching. Links to Twitter, Discord, Patreon, all of that in the description, and a big thanks to all of the epic patrons on the Board of Awesome who do support on Patreon. Thank you so much, you're wonderful people, as well as my lovely channel members who get exclusive perks via hitting the join button below. So I'm GetGoodGuy, and I'll see you next time. Laters. Battlefield 5 is fun now? Nothing has changed. What is this clickbait? Cancel GGG. Okay, breathe. Recently, I've been playing Battlefield 5, something at one point I considered not doing again until hell freezes over, and yet here I am running around in what is apparently World War II as DICE manifested it.